Hi everyone. So it is Tuesday, September 4th, and it's been a while since I made my last video. I've been on vacation for, sorry, computer made noise. I've been on vacation for the last 2 weeks, so I haven't really been able to record anything. But I wanted to come on here and do an update. So while I was on vacation, I was like feeling cranky and thinking that I was having PMS symptoms and stuff, and I had brought some pregnancy tests up with me. I was due to get my period the first week that I was on vacation, and so like a few days before I thought my period was due, I was like, you know what, I'll test and just see what it shows. And so I did a cheap strip, and it came up with like a faint second line. And so I was in the bathroom looking at this, and I'm like, oh my god. So I grabbed so I had two different kinds of the cheap strips. So I grabbed the other kind, and then I grabbed a Target brand test and tested with those two. And they came up positive. And so I was a little bit in shock and called my husband into the bathroom to look at them with me. And he freaked out for a while during that day. It took him, that was like first thing in the morning, and it took him until like the early afternoon to calm down a bit. He was just thinking of like, oh my god, it's going to cost so much money, and you know, not thinking he was going to be a good father and stuff like that. But he eventually got over that, and he's now excited and, you know, looking forward to this journey. So anyway, and my parents were in the bathroom is off of the kitchen in the cottage that we stay in, so like I came out of the bathroom and showed them the test, so they found out right away. And we, over the course of the rest of that week, called, sorry, my nose is itchy, called our siblings, and Eric, my husband, called his parents and his grandparents and told them, and told a few of our close friends. But we're waiting to tell everyone else and like make an announcement on Facebook and all of that until we'd like to wait until I'm 12 weeks and like through the first trimester, but I'm not sure if we'll make it that far. So we're not telling everyone, but you know, I definitely wanted to tell all of you and make it part of this channel. The next day I wanted to confirm it, and so like before Eric called his parents and his grandparents and everything, we went out and we got, so that day, the day that I got the first positives, we went out and we got a digital test. And so the next morning I did the digital test, and it showed up pregnant. So that kind of confirmed it. And that made me feel a little better, because I was worried that like it was a fluke or it was wrong or whatever. And I wasn't even at the point where I had officially missed my period yet. So it was like so weird. So I got a little bit crazy, and I kept testing with the cheap strips. Not every day, but like for like a little over a week after I got the first positive, I was testing every once in a while. So I tested five days up until Thursday was the last test. And it was kind of cool to see the second line getting darker. And the last time that I tested, you know, the second line was really dark. So I've actually saved them. And again, I said this about the OPKs, but I feel funny about saving these, but like I don't want to get rid of them. Like they're even more, like way more than the OPKs. They're like really special. So unfortunately, the first tests have faded a little bit, so you can't see. Well, you can kind of see. But I do have pictures that I'll put in at the end of the positive test. Excuse me. So let's see if I can show this. So those are the last ones at the bottom. So these two were the same day, and they were on Thursday. And then that was, Saturday. So I waited a while between them, but they did get darker. So, so that's really cool. And of course the digital test is not showing up anymore. And even, so I looked at the the Target test, and the lines have basically faded. So I have pictures of all of them, but you know, they don't stay forever. So yeah, so I am now about 6 weeks, and it's a little confusing because if I go by the standard first day of your last period to figure out when your due date is and stuff and how far along you are, then I was 6 weeks yesterday, and my due date would be April 30th. But if you take into account the length of my cycle and like when I likely ovulated and all of that, then it puts the due date more like May 3rd. So I wouldn't be quite 6 weeks yet. But I'm somewhere around there. So I'm waiting for to have a first prenatal appointment to kind of, get a more definite idea. Although, I mean, I'm not expecting that a due date is really when the baby's going to come. But, so yeah, so this is, I'm just going to do a really quick kind of what's been going on since I found out that I was pregnant and, over the last few weeks. So for symptoms, my biggest symptom is fatigue. And that is an issue for me anyway because of my chronic illnesses. But it's even more so now with the pregnancy. And like I'm napping basically every afternoon. Like it seems like right around 1 o'clock, I hit a wall and it's like, oh my God, I'm so exhausted and I have to go lie down. And thankfully, I've actually been able to nap because I generally have issues trying to sleep during the day. But I've been able to actually nap, and so that's been good. So like I'll take a nap for like an hour and then be good. So I'm glad that I'm not working because I imagine that would be difficult. I also am having nausea, but it's hard to tell if it's morning sickness pregnancy nausea or if it's just I have nausea anyway from my health stuff, and so it's hard to tell what it's from. But I do seem to be having more nausea than I was. And then I have, it is such a weird feeling. And I'm sure that those of you who have been or are pregnant can understand this. And I talked to my sister, who is, how many weeks now? Like 14 or 15 or 16 weeks pregnant? I can't remember. 15. I think she's 15 weeks pregnant. Although she might be 16 now. Not that it matters to any of you, but so I talked to her for like an hour and a half when I called to tell her that I was pregnant, and like we talked about all the symptoms and everything, and she was like, yep, I had that. So like this weird, it's kind of pain and kind of like menstrual cramps, but not really, like so much more mild than that, and then also just like this full feeling in my lower abdomen. That's just like these weird feelings that it's cool, like it's really cool, but it's just so strange. And then I've been having more issues. One of my health conditions is called dysautonomia, and it causes dizziness and low blood pressure and trouble standing for long periods of time, or varying periods of time. It doesn't have to actually be that long. And so I seem to be having more issues with that. So I have a shower chair that I'm having to use again because standing up in a hot shower makes it much worse. And I'm having to kind of try to take things a little slower and rest a little bit more. So yeah. And then, so it's been really interesting. I don't have many cravings at all yet, but for some reason, buffalo chicken salad is like the best thing. I had one. Eric and I went out for lunch while we were on vacation, and I was looking at the menu and had been nauseous that day and stuff, and saw the buffalo chicken salad, and that just sounded amazing. And so I got that, and it was so good. And I got another one from a different place a few days later, and it wasn't quite as good. But so like Eric's trying to figure out how to make buffalo chicken really tasty. And, that just seems like what I'm kind of focused in on right now. And then I also like cold and fresh things. So like cold apple, cold watermelon, a cold smoothie, like those kinds of things. I'm now trying to figure out where I'm going to be able to go for my prenatal care. And it always felt like, oh, I have time to figure it out. I don't need to worry about it now. But now it's like, okay, like I'm 6 weeks pregnant. I need to actually figure this out because I need to have a first appointment soon. So I have to make some phone calls today. There is another birth center that's about twice as far as the first one. The first one's about a half an hour away. The second one's about an hour away, but still doable. That I emailed and like told them a bit about the situation and that I might need to be on blood thinners and would it be possible for me to use them? And they responded and said, it's very possible that you would be able to have an out-of-hospital birth. From what you told me, that's what it sounds like, but they want to see my records and stuff. So I am going to call them and make an appointment to go and tour. I have to call the original birth center that I visited and find out, and like let them know that I'm actually pregnant and find out if they got a report from the maternal fetal specialist. And I have to call the maternal fetal specialist to check with him and find out, what the plan is. And if I need to go back and see him now or what. So, yeah. So there's kind of a lot to do. And I only have a few hours. I have to leave in 2 hours to go to an appointment. So, yeah. I'm going to try to get it all done as fast as possible. So that's it. I'm sorry this is so long. Apparently I had a lot to say. I'm not entirely sure whether I'm going to be able to keep up doing 2 channels. So it is possible that at some point I may go back to just using my other channel and just do my pregnancy updates there. I'm not sure. It's kind of a lot to juggle to have 2 channels, and I, at least right now, said a lot of the same stuff on both. So so we'll see. We'll see as time goes on how much energy I have for vlogging. And yeah. So that's it for now. So that was kind of a recap on up through week 5, and I will be back when I have more information, or I'll be back into a week 6 update next week. All right, hope you all have a good week.